The Dallas Cowboys are your Super Bowl 60 champions. Potentially. You know, my grandfather always said potential is just like a shiny turd or something like that. Can these Dallas Cowboys win Super Bowl 60? Can we make the right moves to propel that victory? Is this offense truly championship caliber? And do we really have the NFL's MVP right now? I'm about to let you know.
Plugged in and switched on. This is the Star We Are.
Cowboy Revolution Apparel, all their merch is 15% off when and only when you use promo code TSWA. That is short for the Star We Are if you didn't figure that out already. They got some pretty cool merch. Cowboy Revolution Apparel Company. Also, W Energy can get you hyped pregame, postgame, whenever you need that extra bolt and that extra boom, that extra burst. Use promo code TSWA for 10% off of all their wonderful energy products. Ladies and germs, if you're here to learn, you're in the right place because I don't know if you've been watching as closely as I have. Have you noticed that this offense is championship caliber? Have you noticed that number 4 is the NFL's MVP? Oh boy, if you haven't been watching because I'm telling you right now, this is the time and this is the moment, Jerry Jones, to load the clip. Try to win it all. Can the Dallas Cowboys win Super Bowl 60? That is the question we are going to answer today. I don't know. It's such a short window, but I'm going to tell you why just this year, I'm going to tell you why it's not our only window. As we get into it, if you look across contractually, our offensive line, pretty solid, paid. Couple rookies that are coming up in 2 or 3 years, right? Booker, Guyton. Look across our offensive weapons, paid outside of George Pickens, who can be tagged for another 2 after this season or just extended. I believe we can afford to do it. Quarterbacks paid. Running back, Jimmy has always said, can kind of be moved in and out, but I don't believe Javonte is going to ask for a ton if he thinks he's on a championship team. Everybody's paid on the offensive side of the ball. And it's no question of it's no question about where we lack on what side of the ball that we don't have it. So boom, that begs the question. Can we add enough to the defensive side of the ball post Micah Parsons trade to make this team a championship contender? I think so. Jimmy's answer is yes. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why. So first off, post Micah trade, you're sitting on 4 firsts over the next 2 years. If you were willing to, as a fan and as a Jerry Jones and as a Brian Schottenheimer and whoever's involved, if you were willing to make a first-round pick trade with Micah Parsons on the team and leave yourself 1 first-round pick over the next 2 years to try to bolster this team to a championship caliber team, would you do it? I think the answer is yes for most people. So now you have to ask yourself, with 4 first-round picks over the next 2 years, are you willing to move off 3 of them and still leave yourself with only 1 first-round pick to turn this team into a championship caliber team? I think that answer is still an astounding yes, a resounding yes. Call it what you want to. The answer is a yes. You have to be willing to do that post-Micah trade. Now, Jimmy, what are those trades? What are we talking about? What are we getting into? Well, first, before we get into the trades, let me just give you some Dak Prescott numbers. Quarterback metrics, they don't get much higher. There's some other things going on out there, right? Accuracy, yardage, touchdown interception ratio doesn't get much better. And by the way, I'm going to point out Dak Prescott has 3 interceptions right now, only 3. That's not many through 7 weeks. And if you recall, one of them is off the palms of George Pickens. One of them wasn't even an interception against the New York Giants. They ruled it one, but when they look back at it, even the people calling the game were like, yeah, that wasn't a pick. They got that one wrong. And then the other one was a 4th quarter, 4th down. You just have to throw it to the end zone and see what happens. Hail Mary type, like, here we go. I got to give somebody a chance, and it gets brought down. So can you imagine that out of those 3, like, happenstance situations, Dak Prescott doesn't actually have an interception that he's responsible for? Imagine if Dak Prescott's numbers right now were almost 20 touchdowns and goose egg on the interception ratio. Would we be talking MVP? I think so. And so when you look at the context of those 3 interceptions, you have to look at it as a possible, the dude's not responsible for one of them. Realistically, he hasn't thrown like a bad ball that resulted in a bad quarterback play that led to the interception. None of them were on him. Dak Prescott, in my mind, technically has 3 picks on the book. He hasn't thrown one. He hasn't himself like thrown the interception. If you get what I'm saying, you're with me. So, Jimmy, what trades can we make? What can we do? Bear with me. We're going to roll through the order here. We're going to start with Seattle Seahawks safe or cornerback. I'm sorry, Reek Woolen. I believe Tariq is right now in a position in his career where he's not going to cost much, right? So his projected trade value right now is a uh con- yeah, well, fourth round pick. I'm sorry, forgive me, a fourth round pick. Conditional fourth round. That's the word I was looking for. I'm sorry. So Reek Woolen's projected trade value right now is a conditional fourth round pick. That shouldn't cost too much. I think you can give a fourth and a sixth for him right now if you're the Dallas Cowboys and pick him up. Now you're saying, Jimmy, why do we need a corner? We've got Trevon Diggs, Deron Bland, we got Kyrie Elam right now. We've got Savon Revel coming, getting healthy pretty soon. So first off, I think we're going to move off Diggs. I feel that happening, and even if it doesn't happen, I believe we should. So it definitely, is relative to my trade packages here. If we're getting rid of Diggs, you bring in Tariq Woolen. Why? Because then you have Kyrie Elam, Tariq Woolen, and Savon Revel, all young, all willing to play and earn a contract, and you get to see who sticks around with Deron Bland, who fills out this cornerback room. You get to look at three people. My next trade target I would look for here, and this is one I think that can really, really help and put us over the top. I love me some Wanye. I think Malik Hooker's a good safety. I'm not sure when he's necessarily going to get healthy. Donovan Wilson is obviously our downhill in the box guy. Give me some Minkah Fitzpatrick. The Dolphins are struggling. The Dolphins are a team who I believe has to decide we've got to go all in for a new quarterback and basically hit the reset button, or we just ditch the coach and give the next coach some talent. Well, usually you want to do that on the offensive side of the ball. So I think you can make that move here with Minkah Fitzpatrick and get you some more picks. The package I would put together there, his projected trade value is a first and a late round pick, right? A 6 or 7. So I would do Trayvon Diggs and a first round pick just because it evens out the money. They get a corner to replace who I believe Trayvon Diggs. I don't think he wants to be on this team much anymore. I think when Dak Prescott, and this is just Jimmy's opinion, you can bash me for it if you want to, when he says, I believe most of us here are, I think the not most is guys like Trayvon Diggs and a few other guys who just aren't in their heart and soul and mind on this team anymore. I think when Parsons left, a little bit of Diggs left, and too much of him left, in my opinion. So Minkah Fitzpatrick for Trayvon Diggs and a first round pick. That's real simple. You get to swap the money. Miami gets a first round pick. And like I said, I think Trayvon Diggs is in a point in his career where he actually probably needs to consider, and whoever's coaching him needs to consider moving him to safety. So while you might not get a Minkah Fitzpatrick, you get to replace your safety position with a guy who's coming up on a couple years that costs similar money. You get a first round pick. If they want a fourth or fifth or something like that to go along with it, I'd probably be willing to do it. I think this safety, while having a down couple years in Miami, he's a perfect candidate for a rejuvenation, kind of, if you want to, of your career by moving to where you get to put the star on your helmet. I think it wakes him up, and I think you get the best 2 years or 3 years out of Minkah Fitzpatrick, bringing him to Dallas. Obviously, moving forward in these trade packages, everybody is screaming Trey Hendrickson. Screaming for Trey Hendrickson. We need to rush the passer. Now, Jimmy absolutely 100% agrees. We have to be able to get after the quarterback. I told Landry over and over and over, I think we might be, and you can check this on me statistically, but I'd be willing to put about $5 on it. Okay. That we probably give up more third and longs than anybody in the league. If it says 3rd and 8 on the opposing team's down and distance, I'm calling it a first down. I'd put $5 on the first down every single time I see that number. And even though we won that game 44-22, but we still gave up third down after third down after third down. Now, did that work a little bit? The bend but don't break type of defense? It did. We can talk about that here in just a minute. But while we're talking about what this defense needs, it is definitely somebody who can eliminate the 4 and 5 second pockets for quarterbacks on third down. Trey Hendrickson is one of those guys. Now, remember, since he just gave him a 1-year extension, that's it. So he is all the way up for all his money, and he's going to ask for every single bit of it. Not only that, you're going to have to, his projected trade value is a first and a third. So I believe it would cost Dallas a 2026 first, a 2027 third, and maybe a 6th or 7th to go with that third, and probably a Dante Fowler, right, just to replenish some of their pass rush that they're going to lose with Trey Hendrickson. Is that doable contractually? Is that a good deal? Listen, if you get 95% of Trey Hendrickson or better for the next 3 years, while it might put you on a real pinch come 2029, uh, I I think you can do it. I think it's very, if guys like Dak, a couple of linemen that are paid right now here in 2 or 3 years want to extend some money and move some money, like we've seen Zach Martin do, like we've seen Tyron Smith do, then obviously Jerry knows how to do these contract things, better than most. So that's doable. The guy I think, and this is the last one, if we don't get Trey, the guy who I think absolutely makes this defensive line room as confident as it can possibly be, you add two veteran mouths all of a sudden with Jadeveon Clowney and Mr. Miles Garrett. If somehow that Cleveland Browns team can say, oh boy, Deshaun's not working, we don't let Flacco out better here, Dylan Gabriel, Shador Sanders, we got to figure some things out. We're going to need some talent on the offensive side of the ball. We're going to need some offensive linemen to protect whoever we bring in here. Miles Garrett's unhappy, saying things in post-game conferences like, I'm tired of losing. In the same way, we know what ways they've been losing. Their defense holds teams to low points, and their offense scores less, right? So we know how the Browns are losing. Miles Garrett knows how the Browns are losing. And I think bringing him to Dallas, you get, again, the best 3 years you're going to get out of Miles Garrett for this year and the next 2 years of his career. Now, Jimmy, what does that cost? His trade value is obviously 2 first. That's what his projected trade value is, just like Micah. Understandable. And you sit there and you go, well, why are we going to trade away Micah Parsons for 2 first and then just pay a pass rusher for 2 first? That does sound a little counterintuitive. It does. I'm not gonna lie, but you have to look past that. Micah Parsons, due to bad blood, whatever, Jerry and Mulligetta, whatever the disconnect was, he's not on this team anymore. You got 2 first-round picks for him and Kenny Clark. You have to look past that. You can't say, well, why trade a guy? It doesn't matter. You have to go get this team right now, this championship caliber offense. You have to go get them somebody who can take third and longs away from the opposing offense. Miles Garrett does that just about as good as anybody in the league. So I say a 2026 first, a 2027 first, along with a 6th and a 7th, and again, Dante Fowler to replenish some of their pass rush. I think that's doable. I think if you can make 2 to 3 of these trades happen, definitely 2 of them, Minkah Fitzpatrick and Miles Garrett, if you can combo those 2 together for me, I think you've done it. I think you've unlocked it, and I think you've made a move that gives this offense a real opportunity, because you've got to remember, you're not only adding Minkah Fitzpatrick and Miles Garrett if you can pull that off. You're not only adding possibly Trey Hendrickson and Reek Woolen and Minkah Fitzpatrick if you pull this all off. You're fixing to add DeMarvion Overshown. That's big. You're fixing to add Savone Rebel, who Jimmy has thought since pre-draft, he's probably, or since we drafted him, he might actually be the best cornerback on our team. In another 6 to 12 months. I said that at the draft time, and I mean that. By week 7 next year, we might all be going, man, that's Savone Rebel wearing number 21. That's the best cornerback we got. Top 15 in the league, maybe. I'm serious. So with all that being said, if we can make these moves, if we make this defense a top 16, 15 defense, this offense absolutely is championship caliber. It's going to win you 10 games just based off the fact that it's going to score 34 points every week. And I've got to talk to my team for a second. Listen, guys, I don't know what kind of energy or what kind of mojo you find when it comes to playing the Eagles and the Commanders. Find it every stinking week. Don't just give them your Super Bowl. Don't just show up. I think the last best defensive outing we had was week 1. Week 1 and week 7 looked similar. I think we unlocked something with Shamar James and Kenneth Murray Jr. I think they played together in tandem really well. If that can continue to develop and then Demo gets added to that mix, I think you're working with something. I just really believe we need, with Malik Hooker gone, we need some safety help. And if we can go for an absolute stud at safety, that's huge. If we keep Trevon Diggs around and add somebody like Reek Woolen, then you get to maybe flirt with Trevon at safety and Reek at safety and move some things around. Figure this DB situation out, because if you could figure the DB situation out, you literally, if you only can make one of these moves, add Miles Garrett to this freaking defense and watch Watch teams not be able to score 26 or 27 every single game on us anymore. That 22 that they just put up, that'll look a lot more common. 3rd and 8s have to disappear for opposing offenses. First down runs for 10 yards have to disappear for opposing offenses. I think Matt Eberflus is coming to the realization that bend but don't break with this offense will work. You don't have to keep people out of the offense out of the end zone every single time. You can give them threes. Give them threes. Let them score once every 3 or 4 possessions, get in the end zone. But make it take time. Let your offense, cook. Let them get over there together and start talking and scheme it up, because they're going to score. They came into this week with a 5.3 average scores per game. They scored 5 times in the first half. They're cooking. They're getting better and better. You would have watched the first 4 weeks of this season and been like, man, I don't know how this Dallas offense gets any better. And then watch the next 3 weeks and go, oh crap, this Dallas offense just got better. And this last game, all you had to do was bring your Pro Bowl returner back. Bring a top 3 receiver back. Everybody been like, oh, the last 3 weeks, Cowboys offense been cooking. They haven't even had the top 3 receiver in the league on the team. But look what happened when they added him back to the roster. Untouchable, unstoppable. Jerry has to absolutely load the clip, pop, pop, bang, bang, and get this thing done. Championship, Super Bowl 60, Super Bowl 61, Super Bowl 62, and I believe 63 are all on the line and are all possibly gettable. I'm not saying we can win all 4. I'm saying one of those 4 Super Bowls have to belong to this team and has to belong to number 4. The window is now. There is no more time to wait, Jerry Jones. Get it done. Super Bowl window is right now. 2 to 4 years. Make the moves. I'm your man, Jimmy J's here. I'm signing out. Thursdays at 6 p.m. Catch us on Wednesdays for AM Mayhem. Guys, always, 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 thank you for tuning in to The Star We Are. Your time is invaluable, and if you've spent it with us, we can't thank you enough. Make sure you smash that subscribe and check out either one of these videos if you did enjoy the content. And remember, guys, always, 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 fan responsibly.